Derek Carr has informed the Las Vegas Raiders that he will not accept a trade to the Saints or any other team. And now he is expected to be released. Ian Rappaport reported this, and I want to talk about what this kind of means for a team like the Saints, a team like the Jets or the Commanders, or any other team that may be interested in Derek Carr. It's very interesting because the Raiders had made it clear about a week ago that if you wanted to talk to Derek Carr, you had to go through us. You had to agree to compensation. The Raiders were asking for 1 third round pick. 1 3rd round pick. And basically the only team that called the Raiders were the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints called the Raiders and said, we would offer you that 3rd round pick. We want to talk to Derek. And the Raiders set it up. Derek Carr flew down to New Orleans and basically had dinner with the head coach, the offensive coordinator, and then the next morning went into the New Orleans Saints facilities and had another conversation. Him and his wife both went down there. And what's interesting is there was only one team that was ever interested in Derek Carr, specifically under his old contract. And I think that was the big part of it, right? In my opinion, a team like the Jets and the Saints should absolutely go 100% all in on Derek Carr. Now, obviously, the Saints did want Derek Carr to take a pay cut. That's going to be a big part of it. His old contract that he will likely get out of now at this point, since the Raiders are likely going to cut him, was basically a $40 million contract per year AAV. Obviously, the cap hits were a little bit different. This year, the cap hit would have been about $34 million. The next 2 years, it kind of goes up a little bit, but it's on average about $40 million. And the Saints asked Derek to take a pay cut. And Derek said he was not willing to take that pay cut. Now, we don't know exactly how much the Saints wanted Derek to drop from that $40 million contract. But what's interesting is Derek obviously feels he's worth more than that. And that was a big part of Derek Carr saying he's not willing to take that contract, or at least restructure his contract. And why he's basically forcing the Raiders to cut him, because he thinks that although a team might not be interested at $40 million, maybe a team will be interested at 30 or 25. And for me, when I look at a club like the Jets or a club like the Saints, I think these two teams should go all in on Derek Carr. And we're going to talk about why. There are some teams in the NFL right now that have good rosters in place, but they're really just missing that quarterback to really take them to wherever it is that they need to get to, right? Super Bowl is kind of what all teams kind of aim for, right? But a team like the Jets have a good young core together, right? A really good wide receiver, a really good running back, an offensive line that, in my opinion, has a lot of really good pieces. And for me, when I look at Derek, he needs an offensive line. He needs to feel comfortable. The guy's not very good when it comes to actually getting out of the pocket and extending plays. He's more of a true pocket passer where he has to sit back, feel comfortable. And for me, when I look at a team like the Jets, they have that in place. Even a team like the Saints, right? The Saints have a very good offensive line, in my opinion. Arguably a top 10 offensive line, at least projecting, right? I think Trevor Penning takes that next step in year 2, starts at left tackle. Of course, the right tackle, Ryan Ramczyk's a very good right tackle as well, a good guard. Again, when I look at both of these clubs, they have good weapons on the offensive side, but it's never been the offensive side that's been an issue for Derek, right? With the Raiders, Derek Carr's never had a top 20 defense, and he would have that with either the Jets or the Saints. I think those are the two best clubs to for Derek Carr to go to, right? And that too, in my opinion, when you look at both of these clubs, they both have good defenses, right? So that's going to be the big part of this entire situation. Either way, I find it very interesting that Derek Carr is not going to accept a trade anywhere, and I think that's the best thing for Derek, right? Again, for Raider fans, right? I'm a Raider fan, super disappointed that we will not get a 3rd-round pick, but it's only a 3rd-round pick, right? It kind of tells you what his value is with his current contract. It kind of tells you what other teams kind of feel about Derek Carr, right? They didn't have multiple teams reaching out. Teams weren't throwing multiple 1st-round picks. Plus, it's a little bit different, especially when you look at the quarterbacks that have recently gotten traded, right? The Carson Wentz trade, the Matt Ryan trade, even past that, the big trades were the Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson, and none of those trades worked out. So I think teams really look at all of that, plus you look at a team like the Eagles and kind of how the Eagles are built, right? You get Jalen Hurts and, Hurts. You put a team around that guy, right? A guy on a rookie contract, and that team basically carries that guy, right? So I think when you consider all those things, a team may not want to take a $40 million quarterback on at the moment, especially one where if Derek can't get it done. Where are you at that point, right? So either way, I think the Jets and Saints is great news for them. I think they should go all in. You don't have to give up any sort of trade compensation at this point. All you have to do now is just try to sell Derek Carr, right? I think there's definitely going to be a market for Derek. I think besides those two teams, I think the Commanders is another third team that would definitely be interested. And you can even look at a wild card out there, right? Like the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks have a really, really, really good team as well for Derek. And really, and I get it, the Seahawks do have Geno Smith, but Geno Smith reportedly wants over $30 million. And I know some people prefer Geno Smith over Derek, but I know some people would also say Derek is better than Geno Smith. And if you have to pay one quarterback $35 million, just as an example, who are you paying, Derek or Geno Smith, right? Again, very, very interesting. I'm excited to see where Derek Carr kind of ends up and kind of how much money he ends up getting. Some people think he's not going to get anywhere near 40 million. I agree. I don't think Derek Carr's going to get 40 close to 40, but I think he can definitely get at least 20, and he should get above 20 in my opinion. See what ends up happening. Let me know what you guys think about this entire situation. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time with another video.